Yo, what's going on, guys? C2 Wrestling back post show. SummerSlam 2024 is in the books, one of the best SummerSlams of all time. We are going to get into it. We're not going to break down every single match, but we're going to get into all the key moments that happened in a absolutely loaded SummerSlam. First and foremost, I know the background looks weird. The video may even be just on me. I don't know. I'm on my laptop. I'm in Cleveland. We're making do just so we can get this out as quick as possible. But Chris, before we even get into any of the matches, this has got to be one of the best SummerSlams of all time, right?
Absolutely. That is maybe the best SummerSlam of all time, at least in my remembrance. That was top to bottom a perfect show, in my opinion. It really doesn't get any better than we just got, from match quality to storytelling, all around. Just the order of the show. We had mentioned even something as simple as a concert opening the show fits the show better. From top to bottom, the whole show just flowed. And there's a little bit we want to highlight here, so we're not going to get into maybe every little detail, but it was a top to bottom great show. There's a lot to talk about in the long run. We can get into more in some future podcasts, but I want to just automatically bring up one of the bigger matches of the night, and I'm wearing the shirt. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. I know that's a little bit of the middle of the show, but I want to start with that match. That was, out of everything on the card, the big fight feel to me tonight. And that had me popping. I'm standing up a little bit. I was jumping out of my seat to watch Punk versus Drew. The storytelling in that match really had me laughing at a point just over how good it was. And I love to see it. But I want to hear your opinions. You are on your laptop. You're in Cleveland. I'm currently repping a Pittsburgh Steelers hat for the home field show in Cleveland. You were at the event. I want to hear the reaction you have to that type of match. What was it like being there?
It truly like big fight feel. I mean, the entire show obviously was fantastic. The crowd was pretty into the entire show. I do like as much as I wish we were watching together. It is kind of nice to have you have the television experience. I have the live crowd experience because you can pick up things differently, whether it be in the live crowd, whether it be watching at home. And sometimes you get a feel of things differently. For instance, the Punk McIntyre match. I've been to a UFC event before. I've watched a ton of UFC, ton of boxing. You get kind of this, I'm going to say this word, I hate this word, but you get this kind of aura of a big fight. Cody Solo didn't have that. It had like, man, we better get Roman. Everyone was pretty confident that we were going to have Cody retain. So it was more so anxiety. It was more so of like an anxiousness. Punk Drew, both entrances. I mean, a little bit of Rollins' entrance, but Drew and Punk's entrance, I was like, this feels like a main event. This feels like it felt like CM Punk's first singles match in 10 and a half years. I don't know how it looked on TV, how it felt. I know there was a few moments in the match that, a little bit of ring rust here or there, but I actually don't mind it when it's supposed to be kind of a more hard hitting match. I know they kind of slipped up here or there, but it felt like a big fight feel. The ending was pretty near to what we predicted. I mean, we predicted a good amount of things on this pay per view, but the ending, like I believe you said it, even if it's predictable, it can still be predictable and be good. So I mean, I enjoyed the entire show, but I loved how that match went.
Absolutely. Me too. And I agree with your statement that it would have been great to watch the show together, live or at one of each other's places. But having different perspectives is nice sometimes. And from a TV perspective, and maybe some of the haters out there are going to disagree with me here, but top to bottom, that match was solid. There was no real ring rust from a TV perspective. Punk looked great. That was his best match he's had in 10 and a half years. That was fantastic in my opinion. But Drew is so good as a heel. He needed this so much. Giving him that win only skyrockets him a little bit further. Punk taking the loss. We talked about this in our prediction video. If you haven't seen, go back and watch that. But in that prediction video, we talked about how Drew needed that win. Punk almost needed the loss. This then sets up more Punk Rollins stuff. Punk Drew too, even perhaps. I'm very much looking forward to what we see next. And that's why I wanted to bring this match up first. This was the most, no matter the outcome, like what's next match? What's next? Are they doing Drew versus Punk too? Where does Rollins fit in? Triple threat? Where do they all get involved? Drew, in theory, could be number one contender for a title after a win with like that, you know? So maybe Punk versus uh, Rollins happens sooner than we thought it would.
There was a lot of matches tonight where a story ended and another story began. This match was one of those where we're in the middle of it. Like Liv, Rhea. That is Dom has turned. The whole entire story has shifted. Gunther Priest ends with Finn turns. Whole entire story has shifted. Braun Breaker beats Sami Zayn. Roman Reigns returns. Now it's time for Roman Solo to go down that path. This is one where we are smack dab in the middle of it. And there's a lot more avenues it can go compared to the others. All the others have taken the direct path, whether it be Dom has turned, whether it be Roman has returned. This is the one where we've had this match and the story can still spiderweb into so many different ways. You've set up more of Punk Rollins. You set up a little bit of Drew Rollins. You've clearly set up the rematch between Punk and Drew. I love how they did it. It was the correct winner. As much as I love Punk for the story, for the brand, for Drew, for Rollins, Punk losing this match was the right call. I'm just wondering, where do these big matches kind of start to shuffle in? Because, like, to me, Punk Rollins is still a Mania match. I don't know if you can wait that long. Maybe you can, because we still have some time of Punk Drew. Where do these matches fit in on these big events? That's my only question I have leaving this match.
You know, these events are all bigger now. I do absolutely agree. Punk versus Rollins is built for Mania, in my opinion. But, you know, you look at the backlash events we've had recently, every event that is a smaller event has been big. Bash in Berlin at the end of August is going to be a massive event. You know, so in theory, Punk versus Rollins being on that card is not that crazy. You know, it can suit that card, but is it too soon? If you try and hold out till Mania, how do you fill these cards? What do you have Punk and Rollins and Drew all do? I do feel like the rivalry almost has a disconnect when you pause it for a while. I'd rather them almost not do that. But how do you extend it for 8 months? You know, it's a while till Mania. So we'll see. That match had big fight feel. One other match I want to bring up, two matches I wanted to bring up back to back that you had briefly just mentioned. I wanted to talk about them together, which is why I started with Punk Drew. You mentioned Dom and Rhea, and the turn. Liv getting the kiss from Dom at the end of that match, and then Finn turning on Priest. Both fantastic heel turns. You know, I don't even really want to talk about the matches as much as I want to talk about just what's next for Judgment Day and all these turns. You know, we had talked about this again in our prediction video. Priest and Rhea kind of splitting off, becoming their own thing. And then maybe we have this now Judgment Day faction of JD, Finn, Carlito, Dom, whoever kind of fits in wherever. But they were great. Matches were great. Heel turns were fantastic. I loved in the Priest Gunther match when Priest went through that bottom rope and grabbed Finn by the throat. I thought that was great. Awesome way to end the match too, getting choked out by Gunther, made Priest look strong. He deserves a standing ovation. He's been fantastic. I'm just very interested in what's next and where they go. Finn versus Priest is obviously on the cards. I want to see it. I want to see it happen.
I loved both turns. Even again, just because it's expected doesn't make it bad. If it's done right, I loved that they teased Gunther losing and Priest getting that win while Finn had already turned. And then and Priest goes after Finn. I thought that was very well done. Like a quick little shock, like, oh wait, maybe Priest still retains. and then he gets put back in the sleeper. They give you that last bit of hope. The live crowd experience, more specifically the Dom turn, because the Finn turn, you see it. He grabs Gunther's foot. My only gripe with that is Gunther hitting Finn seemed odd. He hit Finn, and then Finn just immediately helped him. That's the only part I was like, unless there was something said on commentary, I don't know. The Dom turn in the live crowd, it really didn't resonate until the shot they took of the close up of his face and he's smiling. And that's when it really clicks because he tosses the chair into the ring and goes to the ref. When you're watching, like from that angle, you think he's helping Liv. He could be helping. Like, you're not really sure. It's not until Liv hits the Oblivion and they show Dom's face and he's smiling ear to ear, and because you don't hear commentary. Depending on where you're sitting, you can't really tell. For that match, I was sitting in a different angle, so I couldn't really tell. When they took that direct shot, place went nuclear. So now on Raw, your two biggest baby faces are Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Like, just they were getting obviously cheered before the matches. I can only imagine the cheers they are going to get the next few weeks of them going after Finn, Dom, Liv, JD. I'm sure, I think we might get Carlito kind of as like a middleman for a little bit. But this story, it's interesting because they're the tag champions at the same time. Does Priest team with someone to try to take the tag titles off of them? Because that can be a part of the story. There's a lot of layers to this. It feels like it's been coming I mean, they've been teasing it for months. We expected to get it tonight, and I think they knocked it out of the ballpark. I really do. I really enjoyed the way they did it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And again, we do have different perspectives, you being at the event, me being at home watching on TV. And I agree with your statement that it was a little odd for Finn or Gunther to attack Finn and then Finn helped Gunther. But what I liked about the Finn turn a little bit more is that it would be one thing if, let's say, Gunther beat Priest clean and then Finn, after the match, is picking Priest up, helping him up, pats him on the back, hits the move, hits something, and turns on him. He not only turned on Priest, he costed Priest the match, you know? And there's a big difference in the two in a way. You not only cost him the match, you cost him the world title. You guys were boys, you were best friends. It's a blood feud now in a way, you know? I don't think they go as far as getting maybe a Hell in a Cell, but this is how you build up like a blood feud. You had two best friends cross each other in a sense. And now we're getting this kind of Priest Rhea versus Judgment Day feud. Like you said, I think Carlito's maybe an in-betweener. Maybe we get some tag team stuff out of Priest and somebody. I think we're going to get and should get Rhea versus Dom at a point. I'm usually not for the intergender matchups, in my opinion. I don't think they are as appealing. In all honesty, I get it. We are all watching wrestling. We have suspended disbeliefs in a sense. We are watching pro wrestling. But there's something that I lose a little bit in those intergender matches. But Rhea versus Dom works. It works more than maybe any other intergender match has in a while. And that would be insane. Dom is nuclear, his heat. Rhea is going to be so over, as you said, as the big baby face on Raw. She's probably the biggest woman star in a long time and is only going to skyrocket now. Very intrigued to see where they go. Last thing I want to touch on in that match is Gunther, our world champion. He is the epitome of what a pro wrestler is, of what a world champion is. Could not be more happy to have Gunther as the world champ. He is, when he's said and done, perhaps the best of all time. I think we are about to get another top tier run out of Gunther, maybe of the likes of something like what Roman had. I don't know who's going to take that belt off him when it does come happen, but I'm looking forward to it.
To put a bow on the Dom, Liv, Rhea storyline, I do think Jay does get mixed into that a little bit more, especially with him not really having any other direction. They kind of tease Jay and Rhea. So I do think there's a mixed tag, maybe at Berlin, where it's Dom and Liv versus Jay and Rhea. But on Gunther, I mean, the jokes write themselves on this is a guy who it was said he was never going to move to the United States. It was said he would never work for the WWE. He doesn't have the care for WWE like most independent wrestlers do. The guy who some said was buried for when they were changing his name from Walter to Gunther. If what I'm hearing is correct, it is the jokes write themselves. We are big proponents of it's not the title that makes the man, it's the man that makes the title. And Gunther is perfect for that in the world title. But just the world title specifically, they have established in such a short time, not only like a nice lineage of champions, but of big moments revolving that title. And now I think we are going to get even more with that title of Gunther's title defenses. Like, I mean, you have Rollins winning it, obviously, is a big moment in the inaugural tournament. You have Drew wins it, the Priest cash in. You have the costing of Drew winning it back by Punk. Then you have the Finn turn, the second biggest Judgment Day moment of the night, but still what we had anticipated for so long. The Finn turn cost Priest. It's all about the world title. The world title has been involved in such good storylines that have longevity to them. And now you give it to Gunther, who is probably, I don't know who his first opponent would be. My guess would be a Priest rematch just because it's logical, buys you a little bit of time. You can still have Priest do both, face Gunther again, face Finn, whatever. But we might be on the verge of his Intercontinental title run just all over again. Just every title defense is fantastic. This we deserve this.
We absolutely do deserve this. And speaking of things we deserve, we also deserve the U.S. title being back on SmackDown. Our boy LA Knight taking the strap off of Logan Paul in my opinion was the match I had the lowest expectations for, but it was the highest quality match of the night. LA has proven it again. He is more than just somebody that's great on the mic. He can go in the ring. He is fantastic. Logan is maybe the most natural born athlete in the company. It's actually insane how athletic he is. There's never been somebody so famous in any other form of entertainment to be so good at some other entity, whether it be pro wrestling or another sport or something like that. His crossover is uncanny. That springboard moonsault to the outside speaks for itself. That thing was beautiful. And, we pretty much predicted this match to a T, some, brass knucks tomfoolery type ending, but man, they did it great. That turn into the BFT, LA hitting that 1, 2, 3, that pop is huge. Love to see it.
Yeah, it was loud. It was there was a few moments I wear an Apple Watch, you get the little alert. I think I got that alert maybe once or twice Money in the Bank weekend. I got it twice in that match alone. The
Yeah.
finish, LA Knight's entrance, and the finish. I got it. It feels like LA Knight has all that momentum back. Not that he really lost it, but again, we wanted it, we got it. It feels justified. I said it'd be hilarious if Logan won. That's why I picked him. Like, you know, I say in the video, like LA Knight's the pick. I'm picking Logan because it'd be so funny if they did it. But now this is a this isn't finished. They're gonna rematch. They might even have a trilogy. Who knows? But thank the Lord, we have a U.S. title on SmackDown every week. I know we're about to get into the big dog, and that's the main event of all things, and that's what SmackDown needed for its storyline wise. But not having a U.S. championship these last few months where guys are really fighting for it. When you watch Raw, I mean, Braun Breaker is like hell bent on getting the Intercontinental Championship. Ilya Dragunov wants it. Chad Gable was hell-bent on it. Like you have so many guys hell-bent on that Intercontinental title. The United States Championship, unless it was LA Knight mentioning Logan, like no one was even mentioning the title. Getting that title back on the brand week in and week out, have a Santos Escobar, a Carmelo Hayes, an Andrade, any of those guys seething at the sight of LA Knight because they want that title. It's exactly what SmackDown needs, especially with them. We're about a month away from the change. We had said it in the prediction video. They're about to be on USA. There might be a little bit of changing of the guard, whatever there may be, with them going to USA. What a thank God they did it type move.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a fantastic move. And you took the words right out of my mouth with just the crop of talent that SmackDown has right now and getting that title back in the mix, what it does for the show. Carmelo versus Andrade on SmackDown was fantastic. Imagine if that match would be for a title, that title's back in the mix one way or another. And I think we're going to get great things out of it. We are about to talk about the big dog match, but one match I'm going to keep very brief that we haven't mentioned yet. Bailey versus Nia. I'm going to keep it very brief because I didn't really get to see it. I'm unfortunately sitting here. You're at SummerSlam. Very cool. I'm at home watching SummerSlam, I'm eating some pizza. I got some wings too. And all of a sudden, my power goes out right as the match is starting. What am I going to do? No big deal. Let me grab my phone. I'll just watch it on my phone. Oh, great. I'm at 18%. This isn't going to get me too far. Let me go sit in my car. I'll charge my car. I got to watch the match. Guess what? It's just not open in Peacock for me. Literally had to drive around the block to watch this match. Caught the tail end of it. Very glad Nia won. I know, again, in our prediction video, I'm going to bring that up. I had picked Bailey, and I had even gone on record to say that I think that was the right move. I have thought about it post making our prediction video, and more, I started to consider Nia being the right call. It started to make more sense just to put the belt on her now and have her and Tiffany team up, have Tiffany be the Money in the Bank holder, Nia be champion, and have them just go run for a while. The future Tiffany Cashin is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's exactly what we broke down, that it's a new, refreshing dynamic for the women's division of having the champion and the Money in the Bank holder are a tag team. And they're
Absolutely.
technically both heels. And one of them, although they're a heel, is mega over, but probably isn't fully ready yet for the big moment. She's very close. She's about to get it. And the other one, who I gave her flowers to, and a lot of people don't want to give her flowers to, Nia was damn good tonight, and she's been much, much better. But the crowd loves to boo her. She does a great job of being a heel. It is the perfect dynamic to have the title and the Money in the Bank on to tease those cash ins, tease kind of the Nia manipulation of her holding it over her head. I thought it was very well done. I do want to mention before we get into Roman, I do feel a little bad for Bailey just for the fact she wins the Rumble, she wins the title. You conclude that story, and just nothing after that hit. I mean, they didn't give her what felt like a prominent rivalry. I mean, she had a short little stint with Chelsea Green. She beats Naomi and Tiffany. That kind of goes away, kind of doesn't. She beats Chelsea Green, faces Piper Niven in Scotland, which is more so for the benefit of Piper than it is Bailey. Not really on, wasn't on the go home show yesterday. So I do like want to sympathize for her, that I feel like as much as we applaud Triple H, and I love tonight, and I think he has done a fantastic job, I think the Bailey title run was very underwhelming and had so much more potential to be much better. But we now have her chasing the title again. We have a completely fresh storyline for the title. I'm obviously excited for that, but I felt like it was needed to be said that it really felt like Bailey got the short end of the stick on a lot of stories, a lot of SmackDowns.
Absolutely. It is a bit underwhelming, the Bailey title run. And I agree. The show, again, I said tonight was really as near perfect as it can get. If there was any small blunder in the grand scheme of things, it is the loss of the potential Bailey title run we could have gotten. But in the grand scheme of things, again, long term thinking, what's more valuable? The potential Bailey title matchups we can get, or the mega over Tiffany babyface turn we will get in the future. As you said, she's mega over as a heel right now. It's only going to stay that way until it's a forceful babyface turn from the fans. She very well can get a female Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes esque type turn where everybody's behind her. And I think long term, they see more value in that than perhaps they do continuing the Bailey title run. Although Bailey's been great and is great, it is a little bit of a shame. I think I understand their decision and I'm for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, Tiffany's probably perfect to even keep her as a tweener. Like
Mm-hmm.
they don't even have to full-fledged make her a face because she's a perfect character and does it so well to where she is a heel, she is snarky, and she is kind of stuck up, but you love her, and you don't know like from the outside looking in, like every characteristic that this character has, you should hate her, but for some reason
Yeah,
you love everything about her. It's the same thing with Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green's a heel. You love her. You're like, I know you're you're bad, but
yeah,
I can't not help but cheer you. But we got to get into it. I think we've held on long enough. The people have waited. We've got to get into it.
we got to get into it. And by getting into it, we're talking about the return Roman Reigns. I do want to briefly discuss the match, Cody versus Solo. Good match. Solo's great. He gets a maybe a little bit of discredit online, in my opinion. I think Solo's fantastic. He has not even been in the company for 3 years. To be in the position he's in an elite tier. He's upon elite company, just even being in that match, let alone potentially winning a title. I know he ends up not winning, but he's still upon elite company. The match was good, but it's all about one thing. It's all about the head of the table, the OTC returning. I want to hear from you first. Again, I got great TV perspective, but you got a better perspective for a live return. What was it like? That must have been insane.
Again, one of those where you kind of expect it and it still delivers. I will say the way it was done, I wasn't like for sure Roman was about to come out. It did kind of feel like maybe this is where Jimmy comes out. Couldn't tell like how hurt Jacob Fatu was or not, if he was about to get back into the ring. Didn't know if maybe we would get Heyman on the mic first. And also, what kind of threw me off is I forgot Roman has a new theme song. His theme song from WrestleMania. They are keeping it. When his theme hit and the Titantron changed, there were a few seconds, like he didn't come out right away.
Hmm.
So there were a few seconds where I don't know if other fans had this, but I was like, is this just like a mind games type thing? Because this is not going to be great if he doesn't walk out right now. So those few seconds where he hadn't walked out yet, I was like, if I don't see my tribal chief, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed. Then when he did come out, obviously the place goes nuclear. One thing I will say, yes, his presence is felt. It's awesome. You kind of forget how long the ramp is. So I was like, God, he's still walking down there. like, like I know he's about to go in there and do something, but man, like he ain't even halfway there. He's kind of taking his time, and then he starts running. Whatever. It was up there in the top moment. I mean, I've seen some pretty big moments. I mean, just being at WrestleMania 40 alone, there were so many big moments that entire weekend. I think. there's probably very few ways you could say it would have been done better logically. I think it made sense for Roman, made sense for Solo, it made sense for Cody. And the most important thing is they kept continuity. Roman helped Cody not because Roman wants to help Cody and see Cody succeed. Roman helped Cody because he has that respect that Cody dethroned him, but he does not have the respect for what Solo's been doing to him. So he went in there to make sure Solo does not ever do what he's been doing. I thought it was very well done. And the best part about it all, besides the return, the Superman punch and spear, the crowd was electric. I thought the camera shots at the end were fantastic.
Yep.
Of Roman still staying there, not being in the ring, being right outside. Cody, they kind of had the look, the acknowledgement to each other, for lack of a better term. Solo being on the outside, distraught. It was one of those where you're like, I don't even want to leave my seat. I know the show's over. I don't want to leave my seat. Like I, the show was fantastic before it. It made a 9.9 go to 100 out of a 10.
Hmm.
I completely delivered.
Absolutely. It on TV also completely delivered. You mentioned things like the camera angles at the end were fantastic. Just the Cody to Roman Solo. I'm sure there's going to be a meme of it soon. There's a pretty good shot of Solo screaming out there, sitting down on the ground. But I agree with your statement. They kept continuity. What I am very happy we didn't see, I was going to be upset if we saw this, was a handshake between the two, between Cody and Roman, something along those lines. Just like you said, Roman didn't really help Cody. It was more just stop Solo. Respect Cody for beating him, but I still don't really respect Cody type thinking. And again, this whole bloodline angle, everything from top to bottom, the new bloodline, old bloodline, The Rock, Rollins, everybody, they're playing it by ear. They're keeping all these avenues open for what is potential matchups. A Roman versus Cody 3 is a great matchup. I'm sure we'll get it at some point. If you have those guys shake hands, it doesn't have that same type of feel anymore. But you can just have them shake hands on Raw or on SmackDown this week if you decide against it. So holding that off, it helps keep continuity. One thing I wanted to ask you, being there, about the match, Fatu, you had mentioned taking that dive to the table, looks pretty hurt on TV. He looked hurt. He looked genuinely a little hurt. It's a little concerning. I've seen some people live tweeting about it as well. Off TV or on TV, we couldn't really see him on the side right after that jump. That was the last we really saw Fatu till the end. Was there medical? Were people checking on him on the side?
I don't think there was medical. Like the angle wasn't great for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have seen our my post of the crowd reaction of Roman's returning, you'll see the angle I was for that match. But when Solo went back over there, like Fatu, normally if someone's really hurt, like he probably would have been out of the way, but he was there with Solo. I know Triple H said in the presser that like he got a little banged up. They'll have to see how it was. I don't think it's going to be as serious as it seemed. I'm it sure as hell looked like it hurt. That's for sure. But it wasn't like a noticeable widespread panic, like, oh my God, he just blew out his knee, or oh my God, he just broke his shin, whatever it may be. It didn't seem like there was that widespread panic. You see a couple members kind of build up, but
Mm-hmm.
also at the same time, Roman comes out kind of right after that. And that's where your eyes are. That's where your attention is. He could have said something to the doc right there, but from where I was, not anything noticeable. I really hope, especially with him just winning the tag titles, and we know he is desperately needed to be the one half with Tama Tonga.
Absolutely.
So let's hope. Besides from the fact that we wish all good health for everybody, this story specifically, him being a tag champ, I really hope he is okay for that aspect.
Yeah, I did think about it during the event, during the match, that it did. again, it seems like a legitimate injury, but it also does fit the bill of storyline where how do you stop Fatu from winning the match for Solo? You know, you didn't really have a third person like an Orton or a Kevin Owens that makes sense to help Cody Rhodes in this match. So how do you stop Fatu? Maybe have him get hurt, you know, and I guess he sits on the sideline, but we'll
My
see. You have something to
biggest
say.
my biggest thing with it,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have Roman and Jacob touch.
Mm-hmm.
That's a moment you got to save.
Absolutely.
And if this was their way of doing it, bravo. I don't think it would have been good. Not that it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been the same. Again, you save that moment. If Roman came into the ring, spears Fatu, and Fatu goes out of the ring, I feel like you just wasted a big moment. You just wasted how dominant Jacob has been. And don't get me wrong, Roman is Roman, but you're building Jacob as this killer. You're building Jacob as Gargano just dropped him on his head and he popped up and hit Gargano with the entire playbook. Like you are building him as a beast. The first time they touch, I think Jacob should be taking out Roman. And it's a big moment. And, whether he gets Roman from behind, whatever it is, them not touching, whether on accident or on purpose, I like. I like that that happened. I like that they did not touch. They were in the same area. We know they will touch at some point. Save that moment because there's going to be some big moments between the two of them.
I, again, 100% agree. And we agree a lot in our wrestling opinions, but I do agree. I think to even further that, what I want to now see is this might even sound crazy, but Roman not on TV. I think if you have Roman show up at SummerSlam, go out there, Superman punch, spear Solo, stop Solo, him and Cody have their little stare down. Roman disappears again for a couple weeks. Solo, the Bloodline, they're all going crazy now these next few weeks through SmackDown, trying to figure out what's next. They lost their title shot, can't get the title shot back. Maybe now they start losing some matches here or there, you know, and Solo starts to see the struggle. Starts really going crazy over the whole Roman thing. He can't get to Roman. He can't find Roman. Roman's not showing up. That helps you separate Roman and Solo and Roman and Fatu, you know, from touching and things like that. Because I agree, Roman and Fatu, when that does happen, Fatu's got to be the one to take out Roman. He is their next big thing. He really is their next superstar potentially. And that's saying something. There's a lot of next big things in the company right now. We got a new IC champion today, next big thing. But Fatu is something special, man. We all know it. We've all acknowledged it. But it's going to be great when that match does come to fruition.
I think the only way to wrap this up is to just say, I acknowledge our tribal chief,
Tribal Chief, our
the,
OTC.
the OTC. We'll throw it up Sabu style for giving the camera. Thank God he's back.
Thank God he's back. And thank God wrestling is what it is right now. Thank God Triple H is in charge. It was a top to bottom fantastic show. 10 out of 10, in my opinion. I don't often rate things a 10 out of 10, but it really doesn't get much better than what we just saw. I hope we see it again with these next upcoming shows. I'm very excited to see what we get.
I'm pumped. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe, leave a like on the video, comment, throw your ones up in the comments, your acknowledgments to our tribal chief, the real tribal chief returning. It normally WrestleMania feels like the end of storylines and the beginning of bigger storylines, and it did this year, but this SummerSlam feels like we've just closed a chapter of a fantastic book, and we are now on page one of whatever, you know, look, I don't read, but the next Harry Potter book, whatever, the next Lord of the Rings book, whatever those great series are, like we've just cracked open the newest book. We're on page one, whether it be Priest and Finn, whether it be Rhea and Dom, whether it be Roman and Solo, whether it be Gunther's title reign, Braun Breaker's title reign, LA Knight's title reign, we're on page one again, and I cannot wait.
I'm looking forward to it. We are on page one again. A lot of great things to come, not only in WWE, but from C2 Wrestling. As Chris said, hit us with that subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the live return of Roman Reigns from Chris's perspective. We love to hear from you guys. We love the traction we've already got just starting this podcast. Let's keep it up.